The San Francisco 49ers have traded for Brian Robinson Jr. Oh boy, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the trade compensation. We're going to give out our initial grades on this deal. We're going to talk about everything and why the San Francisco 49ers made this move right now. But you guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button, and let's get into the Brian Robinson trade from the Commanders to the San Francisco 49ers right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the San Francisco 49ers have been active the last couple days, and I think we are not surprised by this. We already saw the 49ers go out and trade for Sky Moore. They swapped some late-round draft picks in 2027 in order to acquire him. Today, it is announced the San Francisco 49ers have traded for Brian Robinson Jr., for a 6th round draft pick. One of the cool things also about this particular deal is that the Commanders are picking up some of his $3.4 million contract. So what that tells me is that probably this was going to be a compensation that was more in the range of a pick swap, but because the 49ers, didn't want to pay a portion of his contract, they were able to give them more in a compensation in regards to a draft pick in order for the Commanders to agree to take on some of Brian Robinson's contract. So let's talk about the compensation first. This is perfectly fine. I talked about this trade yesterday and the potential of this trade yesterday. And the thing that I had mentioned was I would only like to acquire Brian Robinson Jr. for a late round pick. The San Francisco 49ers did that. Not only did they do that, they got the Commanders to eat some of his contract. So I'm curious to know if you think this is a good trade. Drop your grades in the chat. A, B, C, D, F. What do you think? What would your instant grade be for this particular trade? Honestly, you take in the consideration of all the different elements of it, of the compensation, the player that they're getting a guy who is a tough, hard-nosed runner in between the tackles. They're getting a guy who is going to be used kind of in that Jordan Mason role. This was something that I was talking a lot about on Twitter yesterday, really trying to emphasize not that the 49ers are going to necessarily miss Patrick Taylor Jr., but the role that Patrick Taylor Jr. was going to play was effectively the Jordan Mason role. So with Patrick Taylor's injury, they currently didn't have anyone on the roster to fill that role. Now the 49ers do. They go out, they get a hard-nosed bruiser in between the tackle grinder. They go and get that guy for a 6th round draft pick. I would probably give this one I'll give it an A-, just because, honestly, probably just give it an A. I think it fits the criteria of everything that you're looking for, right? Because I've mentioned it. The compensation's good. You get the Commanders to take some of that contract, and for the player, he fits a hole. He fits a need. He fits the role that was left by the Patrick Taylor injury. So overall, not bad. Let's see what some of the chat's saying, and shout out to some of the chat. I haven't seen you guys in a while, at least from a live perspective. So it's good to be back with the gang. Shout out to SDS dropping into the chat. Bubbly gives it a B plus. We get a A plus 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 plus. We got an A. We got a B plus. We got an A. B plus. C, not moved particularly by this move. We got another A. I got an A for sure. B, RBs can't stay healthy, so we might as well get a new one. A, B plus, B minus. So I think we're all kind of in the same, I think we're in the same range. I think we're kind of in that same area of, again, you're getting a player who's on the final year of his rookie deal. There was clearly a falling out. I'm assuming the falling out had a lot to do with the fact that the Commanders were not going to be giving Brian Robinson Jr. a new contract. And so as a result of that, wash their hands of it. They go out, they get a draft pick again. Adam Peters, assistant general manager, former assistant general manager of the San Francisco 49ers, he did not draft Brian Robinson Jr. He inherited him. So as we see in a lot of instances, in a lot of cases, sometimes that always isn't a seamless fit. So the 49ers go out, they get a running back who was on the market. And again, these are the moves that I expect to see. And I honestly, I wouldn't say that the 49ers are done. And I do think that this is a good move for the 49ers. It shows that they are committed to working through this injury. I don't want to call it a crisis, but they're committed to working through this kind of rash of injuries. And the situation, as I mentioned, and I got a lot of pushback on this on Twitter when I was trying to just reiterate that the role that Patrick Taylor was about to embark on this season was going to be an important role. And without Patrick Taylor and his injury, that left a hole. The 49ers just went like this. They just plugged that hole, and they went out and they got a guy who's probably, I would say he's better than Patrick Taylor Jr. So in a roundabout way, the San Francisco 49ers upgraded that particular role. And the way that I look at it is you have Christian McCaffrey, who is your RB1. We know this. We know that historically, Kyle Shanahan has used CMC in a very workhorse type role. I would have to assume that the 49ers would want to kind of manage CMC's workload a little bit better, considering the bilateral Achilles tendonitis. He also had the patella injury during the Bills matchup. So I think it makes sense to have a strong stable of backs. And when I look at the RB2 position, I look at it as a split position. I look at it as RB1 or RB2A and RB2B. So I look at Guerendo and I look at Brian Robinson Jr. as combining to be the RB2, if that makes sense. With Guerendo, he gives you the outside speed, home run hitter, a guy who can stretch the line of scrimmage horizontally. And then you have a vertical downhill runner with Brian Robinson Jr., who's going to run between the tackles and he's going to get those extra yardage. He's going to grind out yards, especially when you get to let's say a goal line situation. Say you've used CMC on a drive to get into a position where you've already kind of put some wear and tear, like maybe, anywhere from 3 to 5 touches on CMC heading into a goal line. Now you can bring in fresh legs like a Brian Robinson Jr. and just run straight up the gut. So I think it makes sense. I think all things considered, Brian Robinson isn't my favorite back in the world. He's not a guy that I would want to be my starting running back, but as RB2B, I'm down for it. I'm absolutely down for it. I think that because he fits a specific role, and I'm looking at Brian Robinson for a 5 to 7 touches a game type workload. So I'm not looking at Brian Robinson to come in and be a starter, to come in and be a workhorse back. I'm looking at him just to come in, do his job, and go from there. So I like it. I do. I think that the 49ers, I think this is a win-win for both sides of this trade, because as we've come to find out, the Commanders were going to be moving off of Brian Robinson anyways. And now that this happens, the San Francisco 49ers have a nice situation here where they are starting to insulate themselves with some quality depth. And I think this is good. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the fact that they were able to only give up a sixth, double thumbs up. So it'll be interesting. I don't think the 49ers are done, though. I think that's also another key element of this, is that they're just getting started. I think that the 49ers might have a couple more trades in them. We'll see. Keep in mind that the 49ers are slated to get probably the max allotted comp picks for the free agents that left this year. So I would imagine the 49ers are anticipating to get those 4 comp picks in the next upcoming draft. So any picks that they deal now, they understand that they're getting 4 in return, and they'll probably be in the range of 3rd to 5th round draft picks for your Aaron Banks and your Dre Greenlaws and your Talanoa Hufangas. So the 49ers are going to, be able to recoup those comp picks for those players who have left. So if they need to insulate their roster with more depth, more talent, not bad at all. So, it kind of highlights the only kind of, issue, if you even will call it an issue, that I have. It's like, you had this player on your roster in Jordan Mason, and you traded Jordan Mason and a 6th round pick to get a 5th round pick. Now, granted, that 5th round pick turned into Marquise Siegel, so we're not upset about that at all. Marquise Siegel looks like he's going to be a starter and a big time contributor for the 49ers this season. So I'm not upset about that. But again, when you look at this move, it is kind of like, okay, we traded away Jordan Mason, and now we have to make a trade to replace Jordan Mason, if that makes sense. So it's more of I would call it a lateral move, but they had to make this move in order to do it. You might agree, or you might believe that Brian Robinson Jr. is a better running back than Jordan Mason. Potentially, I don't know if that's what you think. I thought Jordan Mason wasn't a perfect back, but I thought he was good for us. And I thought him, along with Garendo and CMC, would have been a great trio. Plus, you add Jordan James. I thought that would have been a nice core. The 49ers didn't want to pay and tender him and pay him. And so they traded him. I understand that part of it. I get it. It's a business. There's clearly a cash consciousness, because when you, again, even look at this trade, you see that the 49ers got some money taken off the top. The Commanders footed some of that bill. So it's to me, it's a lateral move from going from Jordan Mason to Brian Robinson. But at the end of the day, it becomes, I guess, more of a wash in the end. And if you want to look at it from that standpoint, the 49ers did get Marquise Siegel out of it. So not a bad thing. But I believe this needed to happen. I believe they needed to go out and get a running back. I got some pushback on this on Twitter yesterday as well. I got some pushback saying that, no, they need wide receiver. They need wide receiver. And I'm like, we can't forget about the running back room. And again, the point being was Patrick Taylor was slated for this role. And because Patrick Taylor's season is over now, they had to pivot, and they go out and make a trade. So you got to do what you got to do. And that's what I respect about the 49ers in this particular situation, is that the 49ers aren't sitting around. They are being proactive. They're making the calls. We know that they are. We know that this front office group doesn't sit around. They go out and they create opportunities. They go out and make opportunities. So not bad. The 49ers said this is a really dumb trade. The 6th round pick, we need an O-line in 2026. Commanders benefit from this trade, not the Niners. I disagree. I disagree with that notion. I think I just explained why it's not a dumb trade. It is a lateral move, in my opinion. Like I just mentioned, going from Jordan Mason to Brian Robinson, but they're cheaper. Brian Robinson is a cheaper option than Jordan Mason. So in regards to a 6th round pick, if you are relying on a 6th round pick to find an offensive lineman starter, good luck. That is not typically where you find plug and play day one starters in the 6th round. You can absolutely find starters. You can absolutely find contributors in the 6th round. I'm not saying that. But as I just mentioned, the 49ers are expected to get the max allotment of compensatory picks from the free agents who have left this offseason. So trading a 6th round draft pick, to me, isn't that big of a deal, because they know they're getting 4 additional picks as well. And yes, Brian Robinson is a rental. I understand this. I don't believe that the 49ers are going to re-sign Brian Robinson either at the end of this year. But they had to fill a role. There was a hole and they plugged it. So for a 6th round draft pick, for a guy who has experience, who has starting experience, who fills a need, fills a hole, and is relatively cost effective from a contractual standpoint, it's really not that bad. The 49ers aren't making this trade if Patrick Taylor Jr. doesn't get injured. So, and to this point, Brian Robinson is better than Patrick Taylor. I will give you that 100%. So they technically upgraded. They were planning on going into the season with Patrick Taylor in that role. So they technically upgrade that position, that RB2B. They upgraded it. So that's the way that I'm looking at it. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I'm just glad it's not like a 5th round pick or earlier. So, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the compensation. I'm okay with the logic behind it. I'm okay with the hole that it fills for the Niners. To me, this isn't one to complain about. To me, it hits on multiple different levels of need, price, compensation. They did a solid job, and they upgraded the position. So now your top 3 backs heading into the season: Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., and Isaac Guerendo. Okay. All right, let's see. Now let's see what they do. Can Brian Robinson Jr. be your goal line back? Comes in, your finisher, guy to grind out short yardage plays? I think so. So I think the 49ers have a pretty good situation going on here. Was I bummed about the picks for Chase Young? No, the 49ers gave up a 3rd round pick for Chase Young. I had higher expectations for Chase Young, but I did not. I was not upset by that trade. I was actually pretty excited about that trade because of the potential of it. I didn't think it panned out like we had hoped for. Oh, you're not talking to me. He said, no, not you, Brad. I thought you were talking to me. Gotcha. All right. What's let's before we get out of here, what's the next move that the 49ers have to make? Do you think the 49ers are done? Do you think they're going to go out here and get another trade done? Let me know in the comments. Are they going to go out and make a move, or are they done yet? Huh? Are they done? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they're done. I think there's some rumors out there that Jair Brown might be being floated in trade conversations. So I don't think they're done, man. I think that they're going to be making those calls. I think they're going to, again, very similar situations. Who's on the fringe? Who's available that might not be on your guys' roster after Tuesday? Can we make a deal? Can we get something done? Maybe yes, I did love the Jordan Mason hive was real. So yes, I will acknowledge this comment. Yeah, I'll be at the game tomorrow. So I think the 49ers will still be poking around. I think there's still some room for some movement here. I think the wide receiver room will be the interesting one. They did make the trade for Sky Moore, which probably means that they have made the calls around the league to determine that Sky Moore was probably the best option. So I would probably say they're done at wide receiver. I don't know if they would make a trade at O-line. Typically, if you have good offensive linemen, you're not trading them. Safety, maybe. But again, rumors that they are shopping Jair Brown. Don't know how real they are. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But overall, San Francisco 49ers, I think, make a solid trade. I wouldn't call it like a great home run trade. I think we can wait to determine his fit into the offense before we start calling it a great move. I think it's a really good move. And once we see him on Sunday, see how he integrates into this offense, see how he contributes, then we'll talk about it being a great move. We might look back at this in a couple months and be like, wow, what a great trade. That really turned out to be a solid one. So yeah, I like it. 49ers make a move. You love to see it. Oh, we got Marcus said we got 50 Cent and a white 50 Cent on the team. I actually posted I actually already posted the Brian Robinson walkout, after his incident. I was like, Brian Robinson coming out the tunnel at Levi's Stadium. And in my caption, I said the 49ers really got Brian Robinson Jr. and Ricky Pearsall on the same squad. If you know, you know. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. No, but seriously, like, it's the irony of it. The irony of it. But appreciate everyone for tapping in. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the sub, retweet, repost on Facebook, wherever you're watching this. Appreciate all your guys' support as always. SDS, the gang, is always the best. Grab your cookies on the way out. And of course, we'll keep coming back with the 49ers content. Tomorrow, 49ers play Chargers. Trey Lance returns. He's going to start against the 49ers with Jim Harbaugh, Will Tukuwafu coming back, Greg Roman, a bunch of Navarro Bowman, a bunch of 49ers coming back. So appreciate all you guys. Shout out to SDS. Y'all the best. And I will see you when any other 49ers news drops. Peace.
Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.